Have you ever wondered why some people quietly rise in life while others stay stuck, even though both seem to be working hard? It's not luck, it's not talent, and it's definitely not motivation. It's something far smaller, far slower, and far more powerful. Tiny daily actions that look meaningless in the moment but over time reshape your entire life. Today, let's talk about how these micro-habits silently build your future without you even noticing it happen. Think of it this way. Imagine placing one single drop of water on a stone. It does nothing. But imagine that same drop falling every single day for years. Eventually, that stone will crack. That's the compound effect. And whether you realize it or not, your life is also being shaped by these tiny drops, your habits. Each time you choose to wake up 10 minutes earlier, read one extra page, skip one unnecessary purchase, or even smile instead of complaining, you're dropping a tiny pebble into the future. And the truth is, these small actions are never small. They are micro-investments that gather interest. The problem? Micro-habits are so small that the brain often ignores them. We want big transformations. We want the gym body in a month, the income jump in a week, and the dream life by the weekend. But real change doesn't explode. It accumulates. Just like your phone battery doesn't drain in one big jump, it falls 1% at a time. That's exactly how your habits shape your identity. And the crazy thing is, micro-habits don't just improve you, they start changing how you see yourself. If you read one page today, you suddenly see yourself as the kind of person who reads. If you walk for 5 minutes, you see yourself as someone who takes care of their health. If you save 10 rupees instead of wasting it, you become a saver. These identity shifts are tiny but powerful, because once your identity changes, your behavior follows naturally. You don't have to push yourself every day. You simply become the person who does it anyway. Let me give you a simple example. Say you want to get healthier. Most people jump into extreme diets, intense workouts, and all-or-nothing plans. They burn out in a week. But what if you start by just taking a 2-minute walk after dinner? 2 minutes. That's it. It sounds too small to matter, but that's the point. It's easy to do, easy to repeat, and impossible to fail. And that tiny consistency starts creating momentum. 2 minutes slowly becomes 5, then 10, then 20. Before you know it, you're living a healthier lifestyle without forcing anything. Micro-habits also protect you from the silent killers of progress, excuses and overthinking. When the task is too small to resist, your brain stops arguing. You don't negotiate, you don't delay, and you don't need motivation. You simply do it. That's how small actions build unstoppable discipline. And here's where it gets magical. The results don't show up immediately. The first week looks identical to the second. Nothing changes. This is the zone where most people quit because they think it's not working. But the compound effect works in silence. Then suddenly, after weeks or months, it reveals itself. People start asking, "How are you doing this?" And you smile because you know. It wasn't a big event. It was hundreds of tiny actions, stacked quietly over time. So remember this, you don't need to transform your life today. You only need one tiny action, repeated consistently. Micro-habits won't give you instant results, but they will give you permanent results. And that's what truly matters. And once you understand how micro-habits shape your life, the next truth becomes impossible to ignore. Every single choice you make, no matter how small, starts a chain reaction. Most people underestimate the power of a single decision because it feels too ordinary. But the compound effect doesn't care whether a choice is big or small, it only cares that you made it. And over time, these choices multiply until they quietly build your destiny. Think about your morning today. The moment you woke up, you made a choice, get out of bed or snooze. That decision didn't just change your morning, it shaped the tone of your entire day. Then you made another choice, scroll social media or focus on something productive. Another choice, eat junk or fuel your body properly. None of these choices felt dramatic, but all of them created tiny shifts in your direction. One choice pushed you one step forward, another pulled you one step back. By evening, your day became the total of those tiny steps. This is why taking personal responsibility is so important. The truth is, your life is not controlled by luck, circumstances, or other people. It's controlled by the choices you repeat every day. When you accept this, you gain something extremely powerful: control. You stop waiting for the perfect opportunity, the perfect motivation, or the perfect timing. You start creating momentum through intentional decisions. But here's where many people get stuck: invisible choices. These are the decisions you make without realizing you're making them. Eating one extra snack, checking your phone for 2 minutes, skipping a task because it won't matter today. These choices seem harmless, but they stack up and quietly push you off course. And because the negative effects don't show immediately, people keep repeating them until suddenly the results hit all at once. The good news: positive invisible choices also exist. Choosing to read for 5 minutes, appreciating someone instead of complaining, drinking an extra glass of water, learning one new thing, practicing gratitude. These tiny choices create a quiet upward pull. Just like bad decisions accumulate silently, good ones do too, but with far greater rewards. The key is to become conscious. Start asking yourself simple questions. Is this choice taking me forward or holding me back? If I repeat this action for a year, what will it lead to? These questions remove the fog around daily life. They make you realize that success isn't one big decision. It's 1,000 small decisions repeated with intention. Another big part of personal responsibility is eliminating the victim mindset. It's easy to blame circumstances, family, lack of resources, or bad luck. But blaming gives away your power. The moment you say it's because of them, you indirectly say, I can't do anything about it. Taking responsibility doesn't mean blaming yourself. It means acknowledging that you have influence over your actions, your reactions, and your future. And here's something most people don't realize: responsibility is freedom. When you take charge of your choices, you no longer depend on motivation or external support. You stop feeling helpless, you stop waiting, you start doing. Small decisions become easier because you know exactly why you're making them. Every choice today becomes your future identity. Every decision you repeat becomes your lifestyle. And every tiny action, positive or negative, compounds. When you understand this, you don't need dramatic changes. You only need conscious ones. Because the life you want is not built in one moment. It's built in the thousands of subtle choices you make without even noticing. And once you start choosing with intention, the compound effect starts working for you, not against you. And as you begin to see the power of conscious choices, another force quietly starts shaping your life: the ripple effect of habits, both positive and negative. Imagine tossing a pebble into a calm pond. The circles spread wider and wider. That's exactly how your habits work. Every action repeated consistently sends ripples into every area of your life, affecting your energy, relationships, productivity, and even your mindset. Positive habits are like powerful currents. When you start reading daily, exercising regularly, or saving a small portion of your income, these actions don't just create isolated benefits. They set off a chain reaction. Reading improves your knowledge, which boosts your confidence, which leads to better decisions. Exercise enhances your energy, which improves focus at work, which increases your productivity. Saving money builds financial discipline, which allows bigger investments later, which secures your future. Each positive habit compounds and the momentum builds almost invisibly, until one day you look back and realize how far you've come without even noticing it happen gradually. On the flip side, negative habits are equally insidious. Skipping sleep, indulging in unhealthy foods, procrastinating, or overusing social media may seem harmless individually, but over time they accumulate, silently dragging you backward. Bad habits have a quiet power. They steal your energy, drain your focus, and create friction against your growth. The worst part? You rarely notice the damage until it's significant. Missed opportunities, health setbacks, or wasted time. That's why tracking and awareness are critical. If you can spot negative patterns early, you can intervene before they compound into bigger problems. Momentum, or what Darren Hardy calls Big Mo, is the real magic behind habit ripples. Once a positive habit gains momentum, it becomes easier to continue. One healthy meal leads to another. One productive hour leads to another. One small victory leads to bigger wins. Momentum is like rolling a snowball down a hill. The longer it moves, the bigger it gets, and the less effort you need to push it. Conversely, once a negative habit gains momentum, it's equally hard to stop. That's why early awareness and consistent reinforcement of good habits are crucial. The science behind habits also shows that repetition rewires your brain. Every time you perform an action consistently, your brain strengthens the neural pathways associated with it. This means that over time, good habits require less willpower, and bad habits become automatic unless you actively intervene. This principle highlights why focusing on small, positive actions consistently is far more effective than sporadic bursts of intense effort. To harness this ripple effect, start small and track it carefully. Choose one positive habit and make it non-negotiable. Observe its influence on other areas of your life. Notice how small wins in one area create cascading improvements elsewhere. The goal isn't perfection, it's consistent, intentional growth. Every ripple you create with your positive habits pushes you closer to the life you envision, while every negative ripple can quietly erode your potential if left unchecked. Ultimately, the ripple effect is a reminder that your habits are not isolated. They are interconnected forces shaping your entire life. By consciously building positive habits and interrupting negative ones, you align the unseen currents of daily behavior with your long-term goals. And when momentum takes hold, the compound effect becomes unstoppable, quietly accelerating your progress in ways that feel almost effortless yet profoundly transformative. And as the ripple effect of habits begins to take hold, one principle becomes crystal clear. Consistency is far more powerful than occasional intensity. Most people believe that success comes from a massive effort or a sudden breakthrough, but in reality, long-term achievement is built on steady, repeated actions. Consistency creates reliability in your efforts, and reliability compounds into extraordinary results over time. Think about it. One intense workout doesn't make you fit. One all-nighter cramming doesn't make you smart. One frenzied week of saving doesn't make you wealthy. It's the daily, repeated effort that counts. Consistency is the engine that powers the compound effect. It turns small actions into monumental outcomes, but only if you stay committed even when results seem invisible. Without consistency, momentum falters, habits weaken, and the invisible power of small actions never reaches its potential. Building consistency starts with routines. A well-designed routine removes the friction of decision-making and eliminates the risk of willpower failures. For example, if you decide to exercise at the same time every day, you remove the mental debate of should I or shouldn't I, and replace it with automatic behavior. The same applies to reading, journaling, or saving money. A structured routine aligns your daily actions with your goals and makes consistency achievable even during challenging days. Discipline is the other pillar of consistency. Motivation is fleeting and unreliable. It comes and goes like the weather. But discipline is steady. It's the quiet commitment to do what needs to be done, whether you feel like it or not. When you practice discipline, you strengthen your ability to show up day after day, even in the face of distractions, fatigue, or doubt. This is where most people struggle, because it requires patience, focus, and the willingness to sacrifice short-term comfort for long-term gain. Another key to sustaining consistency is setting realistic expectations. Too many people fail because they attempt drastic changes that aren't sustainable. Start small, focus on repetition, and gradually increase intensity. A 10-minute habit done daily is far more powerful than an hour-long habit done once a week. The goal is to create actions that can be maintained for years, because the real magic of the compound effect only unfolds over the long term. Check-ins and accountability systems also play a crucial role in maintaining consistency. Regularly reviewing your progress, whether through journaling, tracking metrics, or reflection, helps you stay aware of patterns, identify obstacles, and reinforce your commitment. It also provides motivation when the immediate rewards are not visible, reminding you that every small step counts toward the larger goal. Finally, consistency builds trust with yourself. Every time you follow through, you strengthen your confidence in your ability to achieve. You begin to see yourself as someone reliable, capable, and committed. This self-trust creates a feedback loop. The more consistent you are, the more motivated and disciplined you become, which further reinforces consistent behavior. In essence, long-term discipline and well-structured routines turn small, seemingly insignificant actions into unstoppable momentum. When you combine repetition, patience, and a commitment to showing up regardless of how you feel, consistency transforms ordinary effort into extraordinary results. The key is simple. Don't chase intensity, chase daily commitment. Over time, those small, consistent actions become the foundation of massive success, quietly compounding while most people wait for dramatic change to happen. And as your routines and consistency start shaping your life, another critical aspect comes into play: tracking your progress. Without measurement, even the best habits can lose their direction. Tracking isn't about obsession or perfection, it's about creating awareness, identifying patterns, and understanding what truly moves the needle. When you measure the right things, you gain control over your growth, and control is what turns effort into tangible results. The first step in tracking is deciding what matters most. Are you focusing on productivity, health, finances, or personal growth? Each area has key indicators. For finances, it could be savings or investment growth. For health, it could be daily steps, calories, or hours of sleep. For learning, it could be pages read or skills practiced. By selecting measurable metrics, you make progress visible, turning abstract goals into actionable insights. Once you have chosen your metrics, the next step is consistency in tracking. Small inconsistencies can hide trends, while steady measurement creates clarity. This can be as simple as keeping a journal, using an app, or marking a calendar. The act of recording itself reinforces your habits. When you write down your actions and results, your brain begins to link effort with outcome, reinforcing the behaviors that matter most. Tracking also uncovers hidden obstacles. Often people feel like they're progressing, but their results say otherwise. By keeping an objective record, you can spot patterns of procrastination, wasted energy, or ineffective strategies. For instance, you might realize that late-night social media scrolling is draining your focus, or that skipping meals impacts your energy levels for productivity. Awareness creates choice. Once you see it, you can fix it. A success journal is another powerful tracking tool. Beyond numbers, noting reflections, challenges, and wins builds a mental map of growth. It allows you to celebrate small victories, maintain motivation, and learn from mistakes. Recording your journey turns abstract intentions into real evidence of progress, which is essential for maintaining long-term momentum. It also strengthens accountability to yourself, as each day's record is a reminder of your commitment. Perhaps most importantly, tracking enables course correction. Life is unpredictable, and strategies that worked once may not work indefinitely. By regularly reviewing your data, you can adapt, pivot, and refine your actions. Tracking prevents stagnation. It ensures that every habit, every choice, and every effort contributes meaningfully toward your goals, rather than getting lost in busy work. Finally, tracking transforms invisible progress into visible success. When you can see how small daily actions compound into measurable improvements, you feel motivated to continue. It removes doubt and fear, replacing them with evidence-based confidence. You realize that growth isn't random. It's the result of intentional actions consistently measured and refined. This awareness is the bridge between effort and achievement, making the compound effect a reality rather than a theory. Ultimately, without tracking, the compound effect is like a rocket without guidance, full of energy but lacking direction. By measuring what truly matters, observing patterns, and adjusting based on results, you turn everyday effort into meaningful, long-term success. And when you combine tracking with consistent habits, positive choices, and momentum, you create a self-sustaining system that accelerates your growth quietly but powerfully, shaping a future you once only imagined. And once tracking becomes a natural part of your life, the final step to supercharge the compound effect is acceleration, strategically multiplying your results through the right environment, people, and resources. While consistency and small habits build the foundation, acceleration acts like a turbo boost, allowing your efforts to grow exponentially rather than linearly. It's about working smarter, not just harder, and creating forces that amplify your progress in every direction. The first factor in acceleration is your environment. The people, spaces, and systems you surround yourself with have an enormous influence on your outcomes. Positive, high-energy individuals inspire you to stay consistent and push further, while negative influences drain motivation and reinforce old habits. Designing your environment intentionally, whether it's a clutter-free workspace, supportive relationships, or access to resources, reduces resistance and makes growth easier. A well-crafted environment essentially nudges you toward better decisions automatically. Mentors and role models are another powerful multiplier. Observing and learning from those who have achieved what you aspire to accomplish compresses the learning curve. Their guidance prevents you from repeating avoidable mistakes and shows you strategies that produce results faster. By modeling success, you not only gain insights but also cultivate the mindset and habits of high achievers, which accelerates your own progress without additional trial and error. Stacking momentum is the final piece of the acceleration puzzle. Once your habits, choices, and tracking systems are consistent, look for ways to leverage them. For example, a single healthy habit can lead to improvements in energy, focus, and productivity, which then allows you to tackle other goals more effectively. Similarly, one small financial discipline can unlock opportunities for investment, networking, or personal development. Each layer compounds upon the previous, creating a multiplier effect that exponentially increases results over time. Environment, mentorship, and momentum together create an ecosystem of growth. They take the foundational work of micro-habits, consistent routines, conscious choices, positive ripple effects, and diligent tracking, and amplify it. Instead of progress being slow and incremental, these acceleration strategies allow breakthroughs to happen faster while still grounded in the discipline of daily effort. The key is to use them as complements, not substitutes. Acceleration without a foundation is like trying to build a skyscraper on sand, unsustainable and prone to collapse. By mastering acceleration, you harness the full power of the compound effect. Your daily actions, multiplied by intentional choices, supported by the right environment, and guided by mentors, compound faster than you ever thought possible. Over time, the combination of consistency and acceleration doesn't just change your habits. It transforms your life, creating results that feel effortless, yet are deeply earned. So, start applying these principles today. Design your environment, seek guidance, and stack your momentum strategically. Remember, the compound effect works silently, but when you accelerate it with purpose, it becomes unstoppable. And that's how ordinary actions turn into extraordinary outcomes. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. My channel name is Audiobook Library. Stay consistent, stay intentional, and watch the compound effect transform your life.